You've probably seen it before, people working from their laptops on a beach, working from a penthouse in Dubai, working in business class. There are a lot of really cool things to being an online business owner and being able to live and work from anywhere in the world, especially when you grow a business that's making 6, 7, 8 figures. It's powerful. Like you can do a lot of cool things, but there are a lot of downsides to being an online business owner that I think get overlooked because they're not talked about on social media. So one of the things I was going to talk about today is go through what you should consider before starting an online business, and especially if you're going to do it while traveling the world or becoming a digital nomad. There are a lot of downsides, so I'm going to go over that in this video today. But just so you guys know, I'm actually filming this. I'm in Bangkok right now. I'm actually in Bangkok because Kira is at this conference for online business owners. It's actually pretty cool. There's like 400 online business owners, all generating 6, 7, 8 figures from an online business. Came in from all over the world. So I'm going to some events with her this week, but for now I'm chilling in the hotel room about to film this video. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's the truth about being a digital nomad and specifically an online business owner. Like I mentioned, we're not always chilling on the beach or working out or messing around 90% of the day. Most of my friends that I know that are online business owners who are going after 7, 8 figure businesses or trying to make a ton of money are still working just as many hours as everyone back in the US or anyone else that has a 9 to 5. But the biggest differences are that they choose which hours of the day they want to work and what location in the world they want to work from. So for me, my biggest thing about wanting to work for myself was that I never wanted to have to request PTO, and I didn't want to ever have to be physically in an office working and being told what to do. So even though I took a step back and had to basically figure out a way to recreate my 9 to 5 income, it was still worth it to be able to live anywhere in the world and create my own source of income where it gave me the flexibility to work on my own hours, work from my own location, and be completely location independent. A lot of the people you see flexing and selling the traditional lifestyle of being an online business owner and flying in helicopters and being in Dubai and all the crazy shit, unfortunately, most of the time it's the people that are trying to sell you a course and aren't really acting in your best interest. So you just gotta be cautious of that. Even though they do technically probably have an online business, they're probably trying to sell you a product that's not going to get you the exact same lifestyle. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I see people not generally posting about is the downsides of being an online business owner, especially if you're living in a different country. Right now, like I mentioned, I'm in Bangkok, which is a horrible country to do business in if you're from the US because of the time zones. So midnight here is noon Central Time in the US, which is the time zone I am from. So anytime I do business calls or meetings, I basically have 4 hours a day from 8 p.m. to midnight to do business back in the US from 8 a.m. to noon, because after midnight, I just am not the best version of myself and I'm not able to really function 100%. So every day I block my calendar from 8 p.m. to midnight, and that's when I open my calendar for calls and meetings with either my team back in the US or potential B2B or B2C customers. So that's definitely one downside. You're not going to see a lot of people posting about the 1, 2, 3 a.m. calls they're taking if they're working overseas or if they have to take late night calls, just because it's like a downside of working as a business owner in a different country. Another downside that's often not flexed about is a common thing when you start a business. There's just a lot more complexities. You're managing people, you got to problem solve, you got to decide on strategy, and it's not the life or the best fit for everyone because you really have to be kind of on a different level to build something like that and have that motivation and grit. So even though I do sometimes work 15, 20-hour weeks, there are a lot of times where I work more than 40, 50-hour weeks because I am trying to build something bigger that I would never be able to achieve in a traditional 9 to 5 role. In addition to all the downsides of being a digital nomad and online business owner, one of the things I would also figure out before you decide to go this path is what type of business model you want to start. I would say like 80% of people living in Bali, for example, there's a lot of online business owners there. Majority of them are just selling a course or coaching or a product. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not really a business in the fact that you can't generally sell those types of businesses because they're generally tied to the face and the person that is running it. So if you decide to go that route, great. I know people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month doing that. Nothing wrong with it, but you have to put yourself out there and you have to work with clients to generally build that big of a business. Separately, there are tons of different business models like SaaS, e-com, dropshipping, anything. I actually put together a video of my 8 favorite online businesses to start in 2026. I'll link it in the video. Go check that out if you're trying to figure out what type of business you want to start. Those are more ideas on what you could build that's actually sellable. For example, my biggest focus is a SaaS, and SaaS is like the highest multiple business that you could sell because if you get people on subscriptions and you can show there's a high lifetime value and your customer acquisition cost is fairly affordable, then the multiples you can sell those for are absolutely ridiculous. Figure out what type of business you want to run. There are a lot of downsides to starting each of the different business models, pros and cons of each one, but just make sure you do your research. Other downsides of being an online business owner is the actual reality of remote work. This comes down to the type of person you are. I'm actually pretty introverted, even though I'm doing YouTube and social media content, but I don't really care to talk to people during the day. Like, I don't mind being locked in an office or locked in my home office for most of the day working. But some of the downsides of being an online business owner are that it can feel isolated a lot of times. And aside from that, you generally have to figure out where you're going to work from if you're on the move or if you're living in a different country or different city every, few months. Like, you can't just take an extra monitor everywhere you go. Portable monitors are great for this, but it still just adds weight to your luggage and adds weight to what you're bringing. So you really need to get in the mindset that you're gonna have a very flexible moving home office setup. So like, I always take my laptop places. If I'm living somewhere for at least 3 to 6 months, I'll try to find a monitor for sale on like Facebook Marketplace. You can get it for like 30 to 60 bucks and then you have one wherever you're working from. That's a good solution. But there's just little things you have to think about. Like, if you're constantly moving, you never have your perfect home office setup. When I was living back in Nebraska, I had my office chair, my nice standing desk, I had 3 monitors, like all the little things that like really made it a nice home office. You can't just have on the go or like always have wherever you're living. So there are solutions to this, like co-working spaces. And that also does help with the isolation issue. Like, you're working alongside other people, digital nomads, business owners. So that's a great way to kind of remedy that solution. But you still have to figure out co-working spaces. Every time you move, you got to find a new spot. You got to sign up for a membership. You got to make sure you actually are productive there. And if you're working from cafes or coffee shops, which I actually do like doing the cafes and coffee shops, but no more than 2 to 3 times a week, because it is hard to get locked in there and do deep work when there's noise, music. But it is a nice way to shift up like a home office routine. So these are just downsides of being an online business owner and trying to figure out where you're going to work from and the ideal setup, something that's not often talked about on social media. Another reality that not a lot of people talk about is the actual risk involved in running and building an online business. When I was first starting out, there were months where I'd make 20,000 a month, months where I'd make 5,000 a month. It was very volatile and unpredictable. So it's very important to try to find a way to get a consistent income stream or get started with like some sort of income that is reliable, that covers your base expenses. So this could be like a consulting or like a side hustle, like something just very easy to get like 3 to 5K a month just to cover base expenses. For me, I have an SEO background. So whenever I feel like I'm struggling with income or if my business is volatile, I just go on Upwork or reach out to a bunch of industry contacts and try to provide SEO consulting. Then I see my SEOs that you can charge like 5 to 8K a month if you get a good enough client. So try to have that in the back of your mind. Like, it's not something you need 100% to live off, but it's nice to have in the back of your mind as like a what if your business is struggling or it's volatile or you have bad times. And honestly, a lot of people are afraid to admit that even though they're building a 6, 7, 8-figure business, it might not be completely profitable for them. So they do have other sources of income that do help provide and pay the bills for them. What I'll also say is, if you're starting an online business or wanting to travel the world to escape your current life, you'll probably burn out. But if you're doing it because you want to live that new life and you want to do whatever you want, and you're ready to accept the fact that it's gonna be hard as shit, and you're gonna work 50, 60 long weeks, long hours to get it up and going off the ground, and you're gonna learn a lot while traveling the world and meeting new people, and you're okay with that uncomfortable lifestyle and the uncomfort of starting something new and taking risks, then it will be for you. If your goal is to just not have to have a day job, but still make money online, but not have any of the things I just said, you're not gonna make it. It's gonna change your entire outlook on life, and it's gonna bring out a new person in you. But it will be the best decision of your life, and it will completely change who you are as a business owner, a person, and your entire mindset on just how you approach anything in life. The other thing you need to consider if you're going to go this route is the Geoarbitrage advantage, which is basically like going to a lower cost country or somewhere where, the US dollar goes much further. There are a lot of downsides to this. You don't get the conveniences of the US. You can't Amazon next door delivery to your house. You can't, have sidewalks on every street. I'm thinking examples like Southeast Asia. Like, there are so many great reasons to live in Southeast Asia while you're building a business, because you can have a really low cost of living. You can reinvest money in the business. You can live in a dope ass villa. You can do whatever you want. But there are a lot of inconveniences that you lose when you go from like a country like the US, where everything is super convenient. You've got Chipotle's, you've got Amazon, you've got everything at the tip of your fingers. Whereas you go to Thailand, it's a lot different in that you don't get a lot of the conveniences, but you get a much different lifestyle. I personally love Thailand. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I would spend the rest of my life there if I could, but it's just something that you need to consider, and it's something you need to be ready to react to when you change that life and you go live in a different country. There are more downsides. Like every time you move, if you're an online business owner and you're traveling or you're moving somewhere every 1, 3, 6, 12 months, establishing a community and a group of friends is very, very difficult. Think about being somewhere for just 1 to 3 months. It's really hard to find friends that are going to want to spend and invest the time with you if you're only going to be there for a few months. You know, if you're making friends with the right people and they're building 7, 8-figure businesses like yourself, they're also going to be busy. So it's really hard to align schedules. So for me, I found the best luck is to make friends that are entrepreneurs that are big into fitness, because we can find times to go to the gym together, go for runs together, go for swims together. There's a group of like 6 of us business owners that swim in the ocean. We swim like a mile, mile and a half a few times a week. And that's just a great way for us to get out of our office, do a workout together, and then we grab coffee after and just catch up, talk business, talk strategy. So try to find ways like that where it's like you're not being unproductive, but you're finding ways to do similar things that you enjoy doing, but still better your lifestyle. So honestly, like I'm giving you guys a bunch of downsides that aren't talked about while you run an online business, especially if you're traveling the world. But you're probably wondering, like, do you actually want to do it? Should you do it? Is this the right life for me? I'll tell you where I was at, and you can tell me if you relate, and you'll probably know if it's the right life for you. So I was in a fortunate position where I actually hated my job so much, and I hated my boss, I hated the team, that it put me in the best position because I knew I would do whatever it took to never be in a position like that again, where I hated working for someone else. I hated requesting PTO. And so I just had like a motivation to figure it out no matter how many times I was going to fall on my feet and how long it would take. It took me like 15, 18 months to make way more than my 9 to 5, get an online business working. I had that grit and motivation to do it. Again, if you just want to not have to work and make a shit ton of money and live anywhere in the world, you're probably not gonna be cut out for it. You've got to have a much deeper desire and a much bigger reason on why you want to do it. So if you feel like you do have that deep desire and you're willing to take a leap of faith into a new level of uncomfort and risk and hard and long ass days, then yes, I would take the chance on yourself, bet on yourself, try this lifestyle. You don't have to jump right into the deep end. You can start with just a side hustle while you're working your day job. You can start with something new, live in your parents' basement if they'll let you do it. But really, like I said, just try to get to like 3 to 5K a month to cover your base expenses. If you're gonna live abroad, you can find cheap countries to live in and be able to cover all your expenses and live a pretty luxurious lifestyle while building something much bigger, a 7, 8-figure business, whether it's a SaaS company, a coaching business, a course, you know, some big personal brand. The lifestyle really is achievable. Honestly, I feel like I just rambled for the last however many minutes. I don't know how to end this video. I just wanna let you guys know that being an online business owner, being a world traveler, being a digital nomad is not just around all the time. We are busy. We are building big things. There are a lot of downsides, but if any of the stuff that you've seen from this video relates to you or hit home with you and you really feel like the downsides are worth all the upsides, then give me a follow, because I am sharing all the ins and outs of being a world traveler, being an online business owner, mindset changes, what it takes to succeed and fail, and everything you need to know, especially if you're getting started or you're building, growing, or scaling. If you have any questions about anything I've experienced as an online business owner, any of the businesses I'm running, any of the issues I've come across, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm super excited to have you guys here and look forward to seeing you in the next video.